I'm just looking back at your photos, Alec. Yeah, it'd be really cool today to talk about maybe a series, because that's the sort of the side focus of today, and doing trees or like blossoms or something that's in memory of your trip would be really cool.
Yeah, we went with the blossoms and some lamps. Just to explore the color there because there are all these orange lamps in the middle of the trees.
Oh, so it's the light, that the glow from the lamp on street lamp, like at dusk or something?
Yeah, they were street lamps, just decorative. I think they had a really there. Yeah, I took that photo. The photo that I took there was earlier in the day. And then I came back later in the evening and when they were lit, and it was very pretty.
Was it a street lamp or like temple?
No, like hanging paper lamps.
The paper lamps. Okay. That would be, yes. Paper lamps that looking for light and glow.
Yeah.
And what else do you need, if much at all? Other than like that? Yeah, that's perfect. Be really great focus for today. I've done everything but pick a reference for myself, so we'll just mosey on and figure it out as we go. I am going to start because we're here, and Heather will drop in when she's ready. Christine is in Scandinavia, and Naomi has to work. So we're here to work too. And I think, as always, I put together concepts for classes, and then I know it's a good idea. I know there's merit there, but then as the process goes, this is why I love process, then I'm like recognizing all of these threads that seem to be actually coming together as one. And that really happened when I put together some examples of other artists' work, which is definitely going to catapult me into like more future ideas as well, because those strings also branch out. It's a whole cobweb, right? Is there any thoughts since last week? Good, bad, or?
I haven't. I started a oil painting, so I haven't worked on simplification.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, I guess trying to simplify oil painting, but not as simplified as this. But
yeah. I'm going to show, I'll start actually just on that note and show something that I found from another artist's blog. I don't know if I saved the link, but I saved the imagery, and I'll show that to you because everything that we've talked about in any kind of class with composition, what we've talked about in this class, it still all applies to like oil painting or acrylic painting or watercolor painting. And of course in different percentages, right? So this is an example. It was a pastel artist, and she was showing, turn that off, her own reference photo on how she breaks it down. So this was the first photo of a vineyard, and she's marked it out, which I like. I really learn a lot. Like, I'm capable of doing this, but I mean, she did it, and it's just a great example. She's marked out the leading lines and the main part of the composition, and then from there it's like, well, what do I need? And she's put in the X's to show, okay, well, I can crop out. And then from there, what else do I not need? So there's even more cropping. There's even more consideration about what would make a strong composition. The road leading to the left, but coming back into the right. Do you need much more right? No. So we're going to chop off a bit of that right side, and then you're onto something. There's the crop. So from the first photo, which I'll just go back to briefly, this, which when we take photos or we're referencing even live, this is where viewfinders and cropping comes in handy, because I mean, I can see even myself doing this whole scene, but compositionally, there's some problems with it. The fact that the road goes right down into the bottom right corner is not strong. It is one of those sort of default parts of anything coming from corners or leading out of corners leads the viewer out, and it ends up being too much of a, it's cutting off the whole bottom part there. There's a bunch of no-nos, right? The road is just literally cutting from corner to mid on the left. So this crop is much nicer. And then how do you look at it? How do you start your painting? What do you sketch out? I found the way that she did this is a very tiny image because of it's just how she posted it on her blog. But just the simplification of when we talk about 3 to 5 main shapes, there you have it. How do we break it down? You got to like literally go, well, this group of trees and what is the angle and mass of it? All the vineyards go into the one shape. And it really, I didn't save her final work because it actually wasn't simplified. But that's her version of simplified, which was very fair. And
it's so easy when you see somebody else do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if someone can, well, that's in life, Stacey, right? If when you're in it, it's for someone else to have that perspective from, looking outside in. Yeah. So I think that's where group, like when we can share and I think be open, like, okay, you know what, let's try this again a different way. And that's really all the examples that I chose today was based on that for the slideshow.
There's a urban sketcher.
Yeah.
Her name is Irena, Irena Spector, Spector.
Yeah.
It's not all simplified. Mm-hmm. It's kind of, but not all, but I wanted to bring it to class just because her technique is cool. So I wanted to share with class, but I forgot to text you the information. Are you able to look her up real quick?
Let's do it.
Because with the way she does her sketches, it's watercolor and then like colored pencil or the neo colors. But she does the watercolor first with just the big shapes, and then she goes in with some lines.
Love it. That's blurry on my side too, so it's just a small image file. Very strong design.
But she on her Instagram page, she goes through her process. So she has little videos so you can see how she begins it.
To go to life every winter before us, we value for this moment, this moment of growth. The baby bloom is what we find to go to life.
The ones she goes off with. She puts paint in the watercolor pens.
Yeah.
And that's what she uses generally that I've seen to get all the big mass color in there. And then she goes over it with, maybe watercolor pencils. But
I love that she's working with the pencils right into the wet paint. That's just awesome. Yeah. Yes, yes, I love this. Yeah, this is right up this alley.
Yeah.
Great example, inspiration. But like she's got good sense of large shapes.
Yes.
Nice palette. I like her palette. And it is it's simplified for sure. Like although like what do you need to show that there's like this cafe or like toilet? I mean, it's so cute. But I like that she just put in like different types of chairs and just she's got great line work there.
Yeah.
This is a good example of good line work. And when I hope that doesn't come across like what is good line work. I actually saved a video that I'll show you as well from Instagram about sumie painting. And what sumie is all about is like about control. And what I see with Irina's mark making here is that she's very gestural. There's movement to the line, like variegated lines.
Right. And as a perfectionist,
Yeah.
it just goes to show that wobbly, not parallel lines, that it's what brings the character and, the interest of the pieces, and not that it's, architecturally straight. And
yeah, there's merit to both. Oops, sorry, I'm gonna go show you that video that I saved. There's merit to both because I mean, on one end, I have met some brilliant artists who
kind of single.
I'm gonna pause this for a second. Brilliant artists who can do the architectural, and everyone's amazed by it, right? Like beautiful pen and ink and watercolor or whatnot, or even oil paintings. And yeah, that's technique and it's sound, and there's a lot of tools to support that. That's where you get into mall sticks or how to prepare properly so that your sketch is exactly what you need to be able to have all that's controlled. It also takes a heck of a long time. You got to be clean. There's so many type A aspects to that, and that's great, right? If that like floats your boat. I also just know artists who have proved to me that if you do it wonky, it will look right. It's just that the whole damn thing has to be wonky.
yeah.
So like if you're doing houses and you don't want to spend the time doing perspective, well then, do them in more like a blind contour. And generally, if it's something that we all know, like houses or trees, so people are going to get it. And I think with photography in our century, like people are tired of seeing what is considered perfect. So having that character as bang on. Yes. This is a video about brush control and quality of line. And this is about knowing your tools. And we talked about this last week. And so when I saw this, I was like, oh, I gotta steal it.
Stroke impress you? I studied Japanese calligraphy, and this astounds me. Just watch. There it is. Do you know how much control it takes to do that and make it look effortless? If you're like, yeah, so what? Please try. This takes years and years of practice. It reminds me of watching figure skaters who do their thing and it looks effortless. And that's only because they got so much skill. I love calligraphy.
I like listening. I want to just watch more videos of him narrating and reviewing his voice. Yeah, so I think it's important that no matter what we do media wise, that we're always looking at being conscious of those lines that we choose, because it's if you use lines at all, like if you don't, fine, but in that, then you're putting the conscious effort into the color that you choose, or it's the tool really. And I took a Mastrius class the other day, Oh, it was right. It wasn't a class. It was a demo. And I did it because they've asked me to teach, and they said, oh, take a sample class. And so I picked one, and it was interesting. It was mostly about washi, paper making, and inks and whatnot. And as I was in this demo and thinking about things, I'm like, the instructor has everything, like all mediums, everything. And as a mixed media artist, I understand that, but I also understand there's too much. So I love the whole idea that, like, what's that saying? If you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none, but better than a master of one. But at the same time, there's still another but. But at the same time, if you don't still have a handful of things, even if it's just not one thing, it's a handful of things. But if you have way too much, then you're not even close to understanding anything that you've got. Now, that I'm not talking about us here, I'm just like saying in general, like when, it's like, oh, you're enticed by this and that and this and that. There is something about having a mission in your life, okay, I love that, but that's great for that other person, or that's great for them. But I'm on a mission for capturing X, Y, Z. And just to like kind of bring it back home to like something where you're actually pursuing a study and you're getting somewhere. Does that make sense? Yeah. Which I think that people that I tend to, keep on in classes because I'm trying to always bring it to something like heartfelt. But yeah, in this demo, I was like, oh man, I mean, she wasn't getting me because it was too much of everything. And I really felt, I don't know what the word is. Well, I yawned. Let's just say that. No shade.
That's a bummer.
She was very nice, but I was like, just it's a little bit of, it's like confetti in the air.
Right.
I have other friends that teach on Mastrius, and I should have taken their classes. I have a little list here of things. Okay, so that composition sample, the controlled brushwork, that was just like literally that ink. I mean, I'm not ever going to be teaching sumi. That's a lifelong thing. It's just that there is that like orgasmic feeling when you see a beautiful line, or you feel like you've done a line or a mark that's beautiful, and that's just that I'm like always seeking that. Okay, so I have a little slideshow. But while I have my camera up, I'll just show you. This is a beautiful book. I think I bought it after the Group of Seven series that we did. It was another artist that I know, Bonnie, who she's a retired librarian, and when she told me about this book, I had to have it. So here's some examples that I still consider to be like, I mean, they're paintings, so we talked about that, right? They're not like drawings, and that's fine. But just to see it, like how simple, this is the actual place. This is the island. They call it Pic Island, like PIC Island. And then that's the painting. And what I liked about this is Lauren Harris, and that it is still his style, that simplified design, very much design based, but that it is more of that spiritual, what he felt about it, instead of just the standing there. There's a lot of people who go to places that are, beautiful like this, and they're trying to capture that. They're trying to, I can't tell you how many times I've been asked, how do I get that smooth gradation of brushstroke from top to bottom? And I'm like, why do you want to do that? That's atmosphere. That's air. It's moving. like, how else could you do it? And then, to see just an interpretation of, well, there's no clouds in this picture, but maybe they were on that day Lauren was there. Maybe it's actually a thing he saw later on in a different part, but he put them together and just made it more of like something majestic, shining down on this island. So I really thought that had some value there. Here's another one. Oh no, I tape in my book. Okay. Photo, which to me is pretty blah.
Yeah.
But the authors, they went to literally find and investigate the locations that the group of 7 painted at. So this is like current. And then this is what McDonald's had painted. And so who knows, was it foggy? What, it doesn't even matter. It's more of that, what he changed, that artistic license. It's barely there. There's a lot of movement in the brushstrokes. And yet it's still incredibly simple, inspired by nature.
Is that oil?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's probably really tiny, I bet. I bet this is similar to the plein air size of it.
Okay.
Well, this is a bit of a stretch, but actually, okay, what I had thought about with this, so that's the location. Island with pine. And so this is Arthur Lismer. I appreciate that he really focused on the pines to the left that were leaning to the left instead of putting them all in. Now, again, maybe this is current photo has more trees because time has passed. Who knows? But there is something about the potential artistic license of really focusing on what caught his eye of that cluster of trees. And if, let's say he was standing here today, if he put in all those trees here, it wouldn't have the same impact because you'd just be like, it's just almost too much. It's covering too much. So there's nice balance there with that choice. There's probably other examples in here, but those were the ones I initially grabbed. I'm going to bring this into a slideshow. Okay. These are various artists. Random. I do not know the artist names. The first one is ink. Actually, they're all ink. Sorry, all ink, depending on just different methods, right? But I feel like this still has validity when it comes to, say, that group of 7 one that McDonald did, that this would have worked just as well. Mm-hmm. Letting the medium work for you. And fantastic approach for those who want to be more free. The more, whichever medium you choose, the more you use it, the more you'll have control to get into like understanding how to put in blooms or let things. The way that I've always thought about it is like chemical soup, like the collisions of things and how to let them breathe, let them do their thing, what to put when and where. And that comes with playing around and going, oh, shoot, that's not what I expected, but now I know how to do that.
Right.
This has many, many layers, but obviously incredible different concentrations of ink. And if I now, like with seeing that now, I'm inspired to, like, next time I do mountains, I'd really like to do them more like that than trying to get them to really look like mountains. The beauty of Sumier. I last week talked about how there was one of the cherry blossom trees and there was a bird in it, and I had this reference. Well, instead of doing all the branches, Sumier, this is why I bring it up to, be an inspiration for us, is that Sumier and the art and the philosophy And the tradition of it is that it's always brought down to what's important and just what the essence of it. So do you need anything other than the branch the bird is sitting on? And then here I can see so many artists trying to do maybe more of the water when what do you truly need? And that's good design with the wave in the same angle as the bird. More mountain examples. I do not know this artist, but holy moly, guys, I could not believe it when you come across things like this, when you actually zoom in and you realize that those reflections are all just very calculated drips. Are they predictable drips when the artist is doing them? No, but there is technique and skill there of, they know when to put the water, they know when to tilt the paper, where to bring the brush, what value of ink they're mixing. All that negative space is just haphazard in like the most perfect way. And this one I think is charcoal, but I'm not sure, but it seems like it to me. It's so simple.
Maybe on a very soft paper?
Yeah, like a rough 300 pound even. Yeah. It's Paul Fowler. I don't know any of the previous artists, but I tried to put when I had it. We've looked at Paul in art mass when we were doing dramatic landscapes on one of the sessions, and he just has such a great. He's a UK artist. He's a great sense of design, and I love the large square one. Right? If you need a path, what about just filling in what you need around it? Like, do you need to put in pebbles and road bits? Or I just really love that big, huge shape. It is just so perfectly aligned to the right. It is a little bit wonky. There's a lot of erasing and imperfection. Such a great way.
And the way he has it, you can see like a house, like you just triangle up there, and it's
look at that house and how scratchy it is.
Right. But yeah, there's a house up there.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to people and architecture and things that we tend to want to be perfect, what matters if you're going to do it in a way like this is it's still about the angles and the shape, the size of things. So, getting into like little quick people and stuff, it's about the proportions and but not thinking about details at all. And then like this one, that's still very simple. A lot of his work and the next artist is about implied texture, which I've always been drawn to, that from far away, the foreground looks so detailed, but it's not. It's Kurt Jackson, very similar. A lot of his stuff is done by the seashore, ocean splatters. He uses salt and rocks and just, really fantastic. Kind of reminds me of Irina Spector, of just.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Yeah. What do you need to show that there's people at the beach? And there's a whole bunch of, if you saw it in person, it might look messier. There is something about seeing a photo online. I love this piece. We know that's a landscape. Why? Well, the basics, the horizon line, the colors, but that's a tree and I love it.
Wait, or is it a cow?
The cow.
It is a cow. A green cow, damn. Stacey. You got it. See, you can read the language. Well, that's exciting. There's, if you feel the need to look into him more, he has just, I swear he probably goes through like a sketchbook a week. He has pages and pages and pages of contour drawings of bugs and shells and sea creatures and just things. I have brought his work in slideshows before because he has studied, like, I mean, this is fantastic design.
Is it Kurt Jackson?
Yeah. I have a note in like from years ago where when I found out about him, I was like, oh, I felt alone in this world until I found Kurt Jackson. And then I'm going to get into just a brief of the masters because I think that it applies. It's really nice to see there's so many more modern artists that have had the time and I'd say the freedom to do. That's why we are here and doing this. But way back, how did it look like way back? Well, Paul Cezanne, he went into simplification. And also here's inspiration for variations.
You know, I for Cezanne, so Cezanne Honolulu watercolor paper is my favorite, and they no longer make it.
Oh.
But we went to the Detroit Institute of Art, maybe it was at Chicago Institute of Art. And I was so excited to see Cezanne's work. Mm-hmm. And when I went up and like viewed his work, I was like, oh, I do not like it.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. I've never seen it. I wonder if I might feel the same. Like that. I had a feeling like that with Emily Carr, and I felt really bad about it.
Right? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's kind of interesting, right? Like, but then again, that's the curator. There could be other pieces, and
right.
Yeah.
But the two times I've seen what his work has been put up, I was like so disappointed.
Yeah. I'm not sure if okay, I'm just gonna go back. I guess just like Matisse and what we've learned in those master classes is perhaps just at the time it was way more revolutionary. Mm-hmm. And that people hated it for all of the wrong reasons, and we can hate it for the right reasons because there's been so much more evolution and more examples and whatnot, right? Out of all of these, I quite enjoy this in comparison, but in real life, I'm not sure if I would, if I saw it. It's kind of a toss-up.
Right. Like, I'm not sure if it was the sizes of the paintings that were, I don't know. I couldn't get with it.
I was happy to find this pencil and watercolor by him. I think Turner, I had done a class on Turner and clouds once, and I was looking through all his work, and I love his paintings. I've been to a show of his and the AGO, and yet I had not really looked into his watercolor sketches, and it was so wonderful to see things created with just a couple of like scribbly strokes. And so and you know, it's not necessarily the kind of stuff you're going to frame, but there's something exciting when you're studying design and principles and elements to see what's possible with very less.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if I would have saw that, I would have had a different attitude. But I think it's because the green color, like the green pops, you know.
That's like Viridian, like, right, that is like emerald green, so it was a very popular color at the time,
right? Like that. Yeah. It just was, the pieces that they picked were very, I don't know, dull, I guess. I don't know.
Fair enough, because Cezanne, his work on the whole is not dull, but it's possible he had he was influenced at a certain couple of years, whatever, and that was part of the show.
Yeah.
So this, little caption is just talking about how it was about his feeling of the land, and that was a big thing for the Impressionists, and moving into abstraction at the time, Cubism. It was the mentality, the philosophy, what mattered. And it was the same for Monet. And so there's a couple of examples here because of the series. So this isn't about necessarily the simplification, rather than focusing on something, a concept, whether it's trees or same location. Like I can't get out of my head the works, Alec, for example, you've done of, the walks with your past dog and just like trying to really harness, and you've done those works, like the references of that area, like multiple times. And I think that is incredibly meaningful, is to not just go in and say, oh, I've done it, or I did one study and then done a final thing. Like, it's not even about the finished work. It's about the exploration of capturing a memory. And that's why I put together, these master's works, is that they didn't have TV. They didn't have all the distractions we do. They spent a lot of time contemplating certain very personal things. Look how many times he did the cathedral.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Are those watercolors? Or
I'm going to say oil for the most part, but I'm not quite sure if some are watercolor.
When you look at those, you just don't think of oil paintings as those colors, right? Like it looks like the color choices would be watercolor.
In the corner, it's barely there, foggy day. I mean, I'm sure he did sketches and watercolor, but his medium was mostly oil. And so you've kind of just made an observation about the Impressionist movement and the colors that they had. And some of the points about the Impressionists was to not have outlines. It was very low contrast, using complementary colors, creating capturing atmosphere. So like some of the barely there ones that almost look like a negative were very revolutionary. And then this one is like Art Deco Cubism,
right
in the middle there. And then just to, be reminded of his haystacks. He did how many haystacks?
There was a ton of Monet's haystacks at the Art Institute, and the majority of them I didn't like.
I've only seen a few that were part of Mystical Landscape show at the AGO, and they were huge, and so they were very impactful. I haven't seen any more than that. I'm sure in a series there's going to be some that are like meh.
Well, I think it's also because maybe the ones that they chose were the atmospheric ones that you were talking about. Like they were hard to. For me, it was hard to focus on.
Yeah, you need to stand way back from his work. Well, Impressionism in general, you're supposed to have space, and
maybe that was the issue.
Yeah, yes. The spaces that host shows, curators, they don't always have what they need. And then, water lilies. So same idea, just how he did 250 oil paintings of water lilies. So the obsession of it. Yes, I'm trying to cultivate obsession out of all of us. So we looked at one of Lauren Harris's out of that book, but he came to mind because of his design work, and that he was known for these works that were like mid-career, but he continued to simplify form and composition, and he got very spiritual. And so you guys were in that class. We had, looked at, these were the slides from the other slideshow. So it was just as a reminder that as he continued on, as you get older, I do feel that creative people who are very much in touch with themselves and the world, there's only one way to go, and that is spirit, right? has to come from inside, something deeper. So, I mean, he stopped painting what he saw and painted what he felt. And then you get something incredibly different. And I really loved just the reminder that of what I had read about it then, that these abstractions were evidence of his courageous willingness to evolve and change, to explore new creative pathways and capture and paint the philosophical and spiritual beliefs that motivated him to the end of his life. And then also color. So, this kind of led me into color as well, just the symbolism of it and maybe why we're choosing it. And it's perhaps, there's something that I usually ask in anthropology is pick what you're craving right now. So instead of always putting it together a palette that is safe or that, it's recommended these work together, perhaps a launching point should be something more of feeling. I haven't really gotten much far with Kandinsky. There's probably lots of other examples. These were just ones that I first grabbed. I think I'm obsessed with him again. I used to be with Klee and Kandinsky way back when I was young. So I might dive into, I have some books and stuff on him, but I really appreciated how, these are not necessarily a series. It's just that it's the same scene. And the second one is so much more minimal. And the same here. So once we ever think, oh, what we've done right here, right now is, that's as far as I can go, think again. Yeah, he's really interesting. He had synesthesia. He's famously afflicted with synesthesia, or I don't know, is it an affliction or is it a blessing? I don't know.
Is that where you hear colors?
Yeah. So George O'Keefe is the last artist, for example, this, just so we can get into our own work. But this series is called Evening Star. And it was intentionally to focus on how many times can I do this in different ways. She was very famous for taking a concept and running with it and doing it intentionally to bring it down to what truly matters, the bare bones. And if you want this slideshow, if you want to zoom in and read that later, I can send it to you, but I don't want to read it now. But just to see how many different variations, and it's not even necessary to change too much, but just the act of doing it again and again, even if you use the same color, same medium, same paper, you're a different person the next day. And it's connected to how you feel and who you are. And so I find it so fascinating. What was she feeling this day compared to this day? And I quite love going there, but is this as impactful on its own, or do you need the whole series? They're just questions, is there, there might not even be answers. And then we know all of these works, but I couldn't find anything online, so I had to do it myself. I wanted to see the progression of her infatuation with bones. So these are earlier works, moving into the middle part of her exploration of bones. To where she ended off with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say which would be, as the heart of what would be simple or capturing the essence for anyone else. So this was what she's saying to us is for her. And I think that's what I'm, looking for myself as well.
Mm-hmm.
When I started painting the pelvis bones, I was most interested in the holes in the bones, what I saw through them, particularly the blue from holding them up in the sun against the sky, as one is apt to do when one seems to have more sky than earth in one's world. So was that 4 years? Yeah, 4 years. She focused on animal bones. Bones are pictured in their entirety or in magnifying detail. Here, in this abstract variation, she draws attention to the blue sky seen through the empty sockets. Her way of seeing transcribed onto her canvases is integral to her personal independence, her unique perception. It's a radical reshaping of sight, diverging from tradition, and a true approach to freedom. And I think when I read this, what I was feeling was, oh, damn, I'm not that philosophical. I don't really feel that clever or insightful all the time, but perhaps I don't need to. That's just for me to do and then have an action and then have those answers either come to me later or other people can help me out. So pinpointing those moments and looking for references, that's where I find that's important for us, is to have meaningful starting points so that you do feel like you can start this. Yeah. Oops. So you do feel that you can do something with a lot of thought or a series of it, or you are working on feeling just quite naturally. So let's continue our chat. I'm going to suggest to start with the photo that we've been working on that is most meaningful to you, that you felt you needed color for. Am I frozen, guys?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. I just wasn't sure because Stacy wasn't in front of her camera and Alec, you were just intently listening. So I'm so sorry. I thought for a moment I was frozen. Yeah. So if there was, like, I know that I've commented where I was like, oh, I didn't choose that reference because I thought you would need color for it. And so this is the class for that, is when you're thinking about simplifying something, like say the cherry blossom tree, you need color for that. So those are the references that I would go for today. I have watercolor out. I have watercolor pencil crayons. I have my ink and carbon charcoal. So that's pretty minimal for me. Is there anything different that you might have out? Okay. I'm going to take a brief moment and just make sure that Toshi is okay. I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed it. What's our next step?
So I'm suggesting to work from a reference that you really needed color for to simplify. So that could be something you've already been working on and felt, oh, I really needed color to achieve, or something that you've been waiting for. Like, for example, I'd say the sunset that your parents took, like, or oh no, you were waiting for the Arizona rock, like with the yellow.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, so something. Just pick one to start with and see where that takes you. Alec, are you using something different than what I have here?
I'm using that one, the top right, with the cherry blossoms and the lanterns.
Perfect. Okay. So just gonna go into a little concept here. I'm gonna bring up, just for myself viewing, Alec's photo so that I can see it. I want to talk about these lanterns because it's a very interesting concept. Student Rev, Alec, of light. So design wise, just very simply, what is the notan? What do we need? So the notan, and should we be cropping, right? So the way that the trees come in is nice and you got a good shape happening there. And what I think I would probably suggest here is to focus on the shape between the lanterns and below. So the lanterns would be, I'm just going to use the color here, where, sorry, this is so tiny. I know.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, do you really, really need anything else? Because there looks like there's, like, do you even,
Yeah, I don't think I need that middle, those pylons.
Like the walkway could just be real. So if you chose like a really nice surface, then, pardon me, just like using washi and how the paper ends up being part of the art, then you can leave wide open spaces, which I think is so in line with the Japanese Shinto philosophy. And doing maybe an interesting color combination of like red and like purplish pink. I don't know. And do the trees need to be green at all for you to know that they're trees? This is something to maybe play with.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes to the medium. If you were doing this in watercolor, do you really need any line work at all? And then it becomes more of a constellation. Where are the large lanterns going to be? And then which ones do you need to have in a certain shape for them to look like lanterns? Maybe try and like work on like a brush stroke that actually gets that. Maybe like try a couple different brushes and see if you pull, or do a more controlled press. Is that getting the shape? Maybe having branches and then some pink little blossoms could make it feel very whimsy. All the what ifs. In the photo, they look violet to me because I think this is the atmosphere of the day. But like, yeah, you could put, what colors are you thinking of for that one?
Yeah, it was pretty rainy, so it was very blue, dark, purple.
Yeah, like the sky sort of was coming through them because they are like pinkish, but then they're also pinkish white and translucent. And then what happens when you do bring green in? Like I would do a quick test and make them quick. Like these tests don't have to be anything longer than a minute. But what happens when you bring green in? And then what color of green do you need? My mixed media experience is generally like why I choose mixed media is to bring in the color of the medium that I have. So, and then also to get a different texture. So this green seemed to be more natural. And then also then I can come in and just do a little scribble without it being a watercolory situation, and actually quite like that. And then you can do little things like trailing off with a gestural line, feeling the moment of walking. It could be an indication of where you walked. Nobody needs to know that but you. But that's where you can get into the stylization of something that's meaningful and not being representational. And I'll be damned to say that taking a photo like this, which is capturing the moment for sure, but there's like cones and there's so much of stuff that you don't need to remember. So I love that you've chosen that because it's like taking out hydro lines or something out of a really beautiful picturesque scene that you are able to do because you are a visual creator. That's magic to me. Stacy, what are you thinking for references? You going to start with that sunset? Or
yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how. So maybe just putting in, like using a watercolor marker, which I'm trying to create a purple right now.
The Arizona one, like if you just like Irina, if you go in with like yellow ochre and just put in like here, the yellow ochre, and we'll just do a little thumbnail, right? Like if you just go in and put in some interesting marks, again, this is about how you're using your brush. Like I'm looking here, right? I'm like, okay, there. And then maybe do that a couple of times so that you have little studies to work from in different ways, okay, yeah. And then you can come in and say, do I need anything more than maybe some ribbon contour, blonde contour ribbony situation for like these ridges?
Okay. Right. Probably throw some purple in there too. I like orange and purple together.
Yes, so do I. Especially like you're talking like a burnt orangey, like a
yeah. They make a beautiful brown together.
Yes. Yeah, yellow ochre is good with purple as well. Like it's more on the yellow, but yeah. Oh yeah. Yellow ochre and purple. Mm-hmm. Here's just a little scribble for you of like,
Oh yeah.
just playing with little tiny variations. And if you feel like what you start to study is coming out well, then switch immediately to a good drawing paper. Okay, I'm in my sketchbook, but if you feel like the vibe, if it's stuff's coming through you, go to the good paper. If not, spend a little bit more time in the sketchbook. Oh, pardon me. I've got to see what something just flew and it flew and I think it's dying. It flew to die on top of my pastel box.
No.
I know. I'm like, what is it?
Okay.
Like I just saw it fly from somewhere and then I'm looking at it and it's on its back. And it's, what are you? Ah! Sorry. Oh, it's a little bug.
Is that alive?
Barely. I do not know what kind of bug it is. It's the beginning season. There's paper wasps that really live in the walls here, so I was hoping it wasn't one of those, and it isn't. I'm not afraid of them. I actually think they're really cool looking, but
you need to get those out. We had them in my house, and they ate through the ceiling in my daughter's bedroom, so they started coming in the house.
Yeah, they're already in.
Oh, okay.
They sprayed before and got rid of the nests that were in the front door, the two lights, like for outdoor lights, they were in the lights, like in behind the electrical. So they got them out of there. There's a cold cellar, which I found some there. So I've been spraying diatomaceous earth and like inside. And between the paper wasps and the ants, we've really got it like down to like we don't really see them much anymore. But it's also, you just never know. Is it what you're doing or is it the weather? Like you just never, Listen, I'm at my wit's end when it comes to like creatures. The ticks alone are problematic.
Yeah, they're bad here too.
And there's nothing you can do. Like we have chickens, Stacy. Chickens eat ticks.
Right.
Well, I mean, they're not doing their job.
Or you don't have enough ticks.
Or chickens.
That's what I meant. Chicken.
Well, I agree with that. Yeah, no, we were talking about getting the incubator out. And when I say we, I mean Kelsey, because I've never done that before. She's raised a bunch. So I said I will help when I can, but like that is her thing.
My both my kids, their third grade teacher, their classes would do chicks, do incubators.
Cute.
Yeah, it was always fun.
Well, I think it's a fantastic way to like learn how to take care of, something alive. Considering, I don't know what the right word is, but like factory farms, just literally off the males, with no consideration. So to have kids who don't know what they're doing, use them is like, if it's not as Like, even if something goes wrong, it's still in way better spirits.
Yeah. Jalen loved that third grade teacher. So Jalen is a wildlife, or what is it? Her major is like wildlife something. I'll think of it. But so she has an internship, and yesterday she went fawning, I guess. So basically they captured fawns to color them. So she was in heaven.
Yeah. To color them, like mark them, like ear tagging?
No, they put an actual collar, COLLAR.
Oh, collar, not color. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So so they don't injure them or anything like that. They just take, put the collar on them and then take some the weight and make sure they're healthy, look them over.
Well, is this like at a national park or something?
So I live right near Michigan State University, which is where she goes.
Mm-hmm.
And north of Michigan State University, it's called Corey Marsh Ecological Research Center, which is tied to Michigan State. So professors there, they do different researches. So Jalen is actually going to be she was volunteering for the fawning, because who wouldn't? Right? But her job is actually going to be working with turtles and salamanders.
Ooh, neato.
So, yeah, it's exciting.
I think I found a dead salamander on the side of the road recently, because I've never seen a salamander, but this looked like what I think that they look like. And they're cute. I've just never seen one like alive. I also found sorry, I just went all morbid, just talking about fawns, and now I'm like, there's this wonderful, what is it? It's a bird called, it's a woodpecker. Kelsey knows what the name is. Anyway, there's one that lives in the dead tree, and I think her baby fell, and we found it in the garden. It was really sad.
Oh.
And I said to her, it's only sad because we witnessed it. I mean, this stuff happens all the time.
Yeah. One of the things that I think I have a problem with, so doing these little thumbnails, which I'll do even for like the tree, I'll do it. Mm-hmm. And then I'll okay, well, I should try this. Well, instead of doing a new thumbnail, I try it on the one that I liked, and then I ruin it.
Yeah. Okay. So be very aware of that, and write a Post-it note and say, okay, how to set yourself up for that, Stacy, is to actually do 4 with the first mark. So how, in my little example here, I went in with the yellow and did a similar, it wasn't the same, but just a similar, do it 4 times. And then when you, so space out every addition of like the next layer, and then come in with the pencil crayon and do a little bit on each of them. Then come in and be like, oh, now on one of them I have an idea. Well, then you can kind of keep changing it. It may not work, but that's something to try.
It'll keep from ruining the thing I liked.
Well, and if say you like something, then I would actually like tap your hand gently and just say leave it, because even though we've talked about how be open to adding, so you don't know, because you don't want to stand in the way of something possibly happening, trying to recreate the vase again is better. It's actually helping with skill and control of reproducing something that the conditions of satisfaction or something that happened for you. And then you'll always have that moment of you'll be happy that you suffered through that discipline. I've done what you're saying lots. So I get it.
So I just put a photo in the group chat of Jalen.
Did you? Hit send maybe?
Send to meeting group chat.
Yeah.
Did it not work?
No.
Oh, there it goes. Okay. So apparently I didn't actually hit send. I just put it in the group chat.
Oh, it's teeny tiny.
Yeah.
Oh, they put a sock over a Harry Potter sock over it. Oh my gosh, how precious. She looks happy.
Oh, yeah. I asked her if I could come help because she was volunteering for this one. And she's like, no. She's like, are you really going to be running around? I'm like, well.
Yeah, she's like, I appreciate you want to share the experience, Mom, but this one's mine.
Right. She said there was 7. So there was 3 groups of 2, and they found like 7 fawns. And she was a part of 5 of them. And they have to be so big in order to put the collar on them.
Okay.
And none of them were big enough. Well, 4 of them weren't big enough. One of them was already collared. And then she said one was like Usain Bolt, and they just couldn't capture. She's like, I was surprised how fast it was.
Well, that's indicating a very active endeavor, more than I would have expected.
Yeah. Because she said usually, the fawns, they just kind of lay there because they pretend to be, well, they're very still. It's their instinct. And this one was like, nope, see you.
Okay, I just did a sketch. It's not a good start, but you have to get through that crap. But I just did a sketch of one of the photos that I chose, and maybe I need to choose a different photo of seeing the macabre monkeys, right? The
Oh, yeah.
Japanese snow monkeys, and it's of the group. And I just thought it'd be interesting to be like, okay, here's the group of people, because it was way more people than I thought, around the hot spring. It literally, my sketch looks like a witch hunt of like it's like they're burning instead of it being like, oh, the smoke from the steam. It looks like fire. It's not good. It really took a turn unintentionally. So how to backtrack on that one? And this is why what's in your head needs to come out onto paper so that you're like, oh, wow, no. I have to say, I'm really thrilled with these kinds of approaches these days because, it's sort of the next level of we mentioned it, like if we all did the same image, like we're over, like I think we're beyond that. And it's really nice to see because there's just so many concepts that is like, okay, well, it's more cookie cutter. And this to me is exciting. It's harder. It's a longer process. It takes a lot more time. But I think doing it alone would be even longer and harder. So I wonder if there's a watercolor out there that's called terracotta, or is it literally just burnt sienna? I'm gonna look it up.
There is a terracotta. What brand is it?
It'd be Daniel Smith, like their mineral earth pigments or something.
I can't find it. Okay.
Because I personally haven't come across a watercolor called, or even any paint actually called terracotta. An oil, it would be something like Mars Earth, or it would be different. Old Holland has a line, something like Venetian pink, something like that.
Oh, okay. I'm I misspoke. The one I'm thinking of is Terra Rose.
Mm-hmm.
By Embrace.
But still, like, is terracotta like copyright right or something? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
It is such a core color. It is probably, it just doesn't, I don't know. Now that I'm like, there's got to be someone who said, hey, it would make sense to call this terracotta. I'm going to break up the vellum today. Oh no. Okay. Hmm. I'll be right back. Oh, and then maybe let's do a check-in. I'm just going to check on Tushy.
Do you call him Tushy or Toshi?
Tushy. Like your toe is a she. It's a Japanese word. It doesn't really mean anything fancy. Like it's not why we picked it. It means a good year. But it was a name that Kelsey had wanted to name a Shibu Inu that she wanted years back. And so it was like sort of one of those names that I've always wanted to name my animal. And I was pretty open. I just was the no girl for like other names. I was like, no, no, no. Because she wanted to name him Turk, like short for turquoise.
Oh, I like that.
I don't mind it. We called him Turk for a whole day. But there's something that just didn't roll off the tongue.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm going to check on him. He seems to be doing okay and behaving.
I saw him earlier rolling around on his back. He was very cute.
Yeah, maybe his eyes are closed. Yeah, he's got a side eye where, when dogs have that side eye, they look at you.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're not sleeping. Okay. Alec, what have you decided for variations or materials? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm working with the two variations. One is halfway there, but
Ooh, love. A little bit higher. Mm-hmm. I feel it.
then that's variation number one, and I'm still going through second variation where I went closer in the
Oh,
left
Oh,
hand.
yeah, I like that one.
oh, I like that one. And is that you guys on the like walking?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, this one.
Yeah, I like the asymmetry of it.
Yes.
And I was able to feel the umbrellas and remember that it was pouring.
Yeah.
Perfect. Your marks with the cherry blossoms, the dancing strokes, and then the great, sort of gray hardly there into the color really evokes the cherry blossoms for me, especially with the strong trees. Like it's not that your photo composition isn't, this just really feels nice and more of a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were so many people that getting good photos was hard, but like I think it's enough to remember the memories and try to work from them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's about like if you get one good photo memory, but then having even ugly photos can really help you with the design. Play with, and this is so like I think you've got it here. I'm just gonna look at yours again. I'm gonna say play with that walkway a little bit more. Here it is. So that it hold it up for me one more time, babe. Just to I love how it fades. Like I love how it's like you guys are being held. It's like a vessel. Try and change one thing up. I'm not sure if you do need lines at all in what's grounding that walkway. Like, do you need lines, or does it just need to be insinuated because the people are lines as well and it's almost like too much? I know you're just working
like
on
this area.
Yeah. Like, do you need those at all, or does it just need little gray wash? And then was it a clear umbrella? Did you have the typical Japanese clear one?
Yeah, the typical clear umbrellas.
Okay, so maybe try doing that kind of negative space where, like, if you do bring in green, or even no, I have an idea for you. Okay, I'm just gonna screenshot this in a spotlight. If you could do something like a halo of orange, and that would be like the glow. To show the umbrella around it. So you've got your lanterns here, and then to have something that really is soft, though, like this my sketchbook paper isn't good, that really blends out, and that shows just the outer realm of the two of you. That almost looks like a mushroom. You know what I mean? Hey, mister, we see you. We hear you. I'm not sure you need green, because I think that color combo really shows that fogginess. And the green almost feels too fresh.
Yeah.
I have something for you, I think. What do I have? I thought your bone was a good treat. Oh, do we need the marrow out of it? Oh, I think we do. Guess what palette knives are also good for, guys?
Oh,
Scraping marrow out of a bow. Look at all this good stuff. Oh,
would adding pink to the ground for like falling apple flower or be too much to give it the hint of the walkway?
let me look at the original.
Yeah.
There didn't seem to be anything on the ground.
Okay.
But if you wanted to do that reflection, like just, I mean, well, you can still have fallen petals, but like, or just the reflection of that in the wet ground, mixing pink with the ink will give you a really nice grayish pink.
Mm-hmm.
While I have this on Spotlight, I'm not going to worry about the diffusion around the shape, but to get an umbrella. So you have an umbrella and then you have two people under it. And it's that shape you're looking for in here. I mean, it's better to sketch, like in your sketchbook, to actually sketch out the shape of two people.
Mm-hmm.
And then like he's taller than you, right?
Way taller.
Yeah, okay. Well, you make him way taller than I did. So I put him on this side. So he's got, he's here. There's going to be a connection between you, but it's got to show in that negative space, and then that can trickle off.
Mm-hmm.
Very Mary Poppins. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing the sketch silhouette and then going around it, but when you do it in your actual piece, to just look at the shape and really with your brush, that's choosing a brush where you can get fine to thick and then nice edges. Oh, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, honey. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Okay. Come here. Come on. Oh, no. Oh, guys. Oh, my gosh. Oh, no, honey. Oh. Oh, no. Sorry, I have a little accident.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. He can't walk still. I should have put a diaper on him.
Oh,
Oh.
still young.
It was my fault. His whining. He was trying to get up. I'm sorry, honey. I missed that. Sorry. Sorry. Let me see.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Come. Let's meet. Oh, let's do a little hug. Group hug.
Oh.
Yeah, group hug.
Oh.
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 Oh, he's getting so big.
Uh-huh.
It's gonna be pretty big.
Kelsey's so excited. The thought of him being over 100 pounds. That's what she wants.
Oh my.
But right now, because like she's got kids, so he's basically my kid. He's sleeping in my bed, and like last night I had sushi, Toshi sleeping in my bed, and my feet were off the bed, like as in diagonal from my pillow, feet. Like I had no room to sleep. And I mean, I can still kind of sleep like that, but it was so stupid. I'm like, what's going to happen when he's just a year old? But he's still shaky and kind of thought he'd be a bit better sooner, but like he still can't stand up, which is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you good? But he's cuddly now. Like, see, he's fine.
He just needed some comfort.
Yeah. Especially when you're sitting in your own pee.
Oh.
Oh, guess what? It's lunchtime soon. Yeah, okay.
I have a little pillow on my bed. And so that's where my dog can go.
Is it like the flat pillows, like flat square?
Yeah. It's one of the pillows that she knew from a while ago that, yep, this is your pillow, and she'd lay on the ground. Well, I just put it up in bed with us and said, this is your spot, because she was trying to get like cuddled up into the crook of my legs or at the end of the bed. And so I wasn't able to sleep because I can't move over. I can't. So I'm like, nope, this has can't be it.
The crating's going better, Stacy, because I got a bed for him.
Oh,
it's one of those marshmallowy type, the comfort beds, the hairy ones.
Yeah.
And so because of being sick, it's like, okay, so here's your bed. This is whether it's on my bed or on the floor or in your crate, that's your bed. Right. And so slowly now it's in his crate, and twice, maybe 3 times he's gone in his crate on his own because he wants the bed. And I mean, I'm like, you know, because I thought we were back to square one with everything. We're definitely back to square one on the potty training. But I mean, I've never had dog before, so I'm just like, I'm just wiping my hands of all that kind of guilt.
Well, yeah, and you know, even kids, right? They get sick, things happen, and you know, it's a part of life, and it's not his fault. It might be a little bit harder, you know, once he gets better.
Yeah,
your part, because you're gonna have to put in more effort, but you know, you just have to go in with the attitude of it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so yeah, it's been a week. You know, I appreciate when you were like, are you going to be okay tomorrow? I mean, I was looking forward to getting together today because it's real life for me. Like it's my life that I want, but the kind of life that the reality of what it's been is that he got bit by that tick before we adopted him.
So he had it a while. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny because we've only had him for 4 weeks. Well, he would yelp when we touched him, and we didn't think anything. So it had been manifesting the whole time. When I mentioned it to the breeder, she was very defensive. My puppies have never had ticks. So anyway, I didn't want anything from her. I just wanted her to know.
Check her puppy. Yeah.
Yeah, she said, my puppies have never had ticks. They've always been inside. I said, the thing is, Carol, is you coming in, the parents coming in, like, you know, just because the puppies are inside doesn't mean they're not exposed to outside.
Yep.
Because I guess if you have, so just because he's going to be okay, if he ever has a test and if you blood work, he will always show positive for Lyme. So it's like forever. It's one of those things. And that's that's why you don't want to get it to begin with.
No, my friend's daughter got Lyme disease, and it took a really long time for it to, we're talking years of being lethargic and
Wow.
it affecting her. So as a teenager, when she was in middle school.
And then you're also just growing, like naturally too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard.
Scary, but you gotta get outside. Can't be afraid. Everything.
Yeah, that's one thing that Jalen, like every time she comes home, I'm like, check for ticks.
Oh my gosh, yeah, like today she's outside.
Yeah, she had 3 on her the other day.
Yeah.
So
that's so freaky. Oh my gosh. All right, let's share whatever you've got. I'd also love to see some of the, like I had suggested it, but it would be really nice, even thumbnail wise, just to like take what also we've done in the first classes to add a little bit of color to a new, just to see what that does, if it brings you back to, oh, I actually like the simplicity of black or gray to color for some scenes. And then just so that we are like always considering what a scene needs. Does it need color at all? Like cherry blossoms, I'm going to say hell yeah. If it was done in gray, it could work, but I think there's something that people will feel if there's that little shot of color in there. And then I'd say the same with Arizona rock, or just like rock, like that red rock in general. Do you need to have a little bit of that color? I think so.
yeah, it's wet right now, so I haven't been able to add.
Are you gonna be going in with like the colored water soluble pencil crayons? Because being wet is one thing. Oh,
well, the watercolor, the neo colors don't really write on it when it's wet.
Okay, that one I love the silhouette shape of that. Is that like a nice deep Van Dyke brown or something?
It's burnt sienna.
Okay.
So
it looks dark.
It's a water brush.
Nice. I really like that.
So I was going to go in and do like this one. My test, and you can see a little bit.
Yes.
So I was going to go in with some neo colors and just put some lines in that way.
I really like that. I also really like the one above where you've just left the rock and it's about the sky and whatnot. And like, how could the rock be as simple as possible?
I was thinking about going in and putting that light. It's really light blue, and it's also a granulated color. Oh man, I just stuck my finger in the rock, so it's a little texture now. I was going to put a little hint of the blue. Mm-hmm. Or should I just leave it the white?
Oh yeah, no, a little hint of blue is nice. I mean, yeah, it goes well with the burnt sienna and the colors. Yeah, yeah, great composition and shapes. Like where you're going with it. Yeah. Right. Is that on paper?
Yeah, it's watercolor paper.
Nice. So you can actually, like, any of those work out. You have all these little tiny jewels.
Yeah.
Work. That's great.
All right. That's as far as I got. And I don't know if you wanted to see these.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the one, the almost at the bottom that's beside the burnt sienna one.
This one or that one?
That one that you're thinking about now. I really like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's a moodiness.
I like the one right above it.
This one?
The block of yellow there.
Yeah. Try those two out on the next 2 squares of your.
Well, so this one,
mm-hmm.
This one is the top one.
So there's something different about it. And I think it's compositionally is that the rock is taking up more space. So try a different, ratio.
So squishing this part.
Yeah. There's something really nice about, like, the rock's important, but also in that photo, there's the leading up to the rock. So it doesn't have to be so wide. You can have it trail off and just have it more asymmetrical on the left.
Here?
Yeah, so when you're here, I'll just do a little quick thumbnail for you.
Okay.
So when if you have a high horizon line, that rock it could be there. It doesn't have to take up
Oh, I see what you're saying.
so
Okay.
much more space, so that this now it's just to see, and you know how it still has to be like, what is it about that because if you want the rock to be prominent, then you could do a low horizon.
Okay.
But I think that in your study, that to me, design wise, is what was really nice, with the big spaces and the high horizon.
Which is funny because that was a oops, because I put it too high.
Yeah.
And then I made sure I lowered everything after that.
Oops, it worked. Switch spotlight. Alec, how's that working out?
I'm working on a third one to try to practice that, but just getting the main.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful. If you got out some washi, I'm going to suggest for like fourth study to try painting on the back, like do the tree trunks on the front so they're strong, but then also flipping it and doing some of the cherry blossoms on the back and having some where the paint is showing through from the back.
Okay. Like the back is the rough side or the smooth side?
So if you have washi that has a smooth side, that would be your sizing. I would look for one of the sheets you have that doesn't have either, and you could use either side, and they would both be somewhat rough.
Gotcha.
Then you'll have bleed. It's definitely worth a shot because of the atmosphere that is just like, it would be, I think, really supportive. Yes. And you can still do the cherry blossom marks on the front as well, but to also look at what you could do for having that kind of ghost bleed through, I think that'd be really neat.
Okay, yeah, I think I have paper like that, but that's the one I used last week.
Yeah, you know, even if you have, say, one sheet, it's worth maybe, I know you like to paint larger, but even just cutting it in half or in four so that you're doing some studies. So you have a couple of options to try. And washi is just one of many papers that could do that. You know, Mylar also, it's just the way that paint and ink sits on Mylar is different than washi, but it's still, you know, these are still surfaces worth exploring. I found today I didn't quite like the Mylar, even though I was like, oh, I'm excited to get this out. And then I was like, well, actually, just because I like Mylar, I'm not feeling it today. And so,
yeah.
Thank
you. Do you have tissue paper?
You know, if you could even use like layered tissue paper, like have a couple put together at the corners, that could be interesting. It might be too thin on its own. What other kind of, like, washi has a whole like range of tissues in general, where you could layer that onto another piece of paper.
There it is.
Yeah,
that's a really thin one.
Even a washi that has like barks or bits or what they I can't remember the name of what they call that. Just like natural embedded bits. Okay, so
there we go.
Yes, that's it. Now, let's say, for example, you have you want to keep trying on different washi, and one piece that you have has a sizing on it. You can still paint on the rough side at the back. It's just, it won't bleed through so much. So then I would suggest you go darker in color, darker in value, so that what you see on the front is lighter, but you have to compensate for the sizing not letting it come through.
Gotcha.
And you could do a little test on the corner.
Okay.
This is a great exploration and beginning. Let me look at okay, for next week, I had in mind, and I'm okay for this to change, but it seemed to make sense to me at the time to start looking at combining photos. So I would suggest we do like a completely new reference and composition, and taking multiple photos of a memory and putting together something that is a composition. And an example I had of this, I had a few, but one was of a really cool, like it was like 100 or 1,000-year-old tree, and I couldn't, even in person, you couldn't see this darn tree. If you have a minute, do you guys have a minute?
Oh yeah, I have nothing going on today.
Okay. My only issue is a whining poopers, but
oh yeah, like make sure he's not have to go to the bathroom. We could take a potty break if you want. At least I could.
He has a pee pad right here.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. That is beautiful. Oh, with the
shadow.
Yeah.
I will show you my sketch of it. The thumbnail worked out, but the thing I did on Mylar did not. And that's fine, because I will keep exploring it. That's not the tree I'm talking about, though. So it's this guy. So this tree was so insane. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, even when you're there in person, you're like, I don't understand it. Okay. So it's a pine tree that was planted 300 years ago. And so one of the largest black pines in the Tokyo area. So
that's a pine tree?
This is a freaking pine tree, and all of these are holding it up.
Oh, wow.
Supporting it. And so this is from the side, but the front of it is like wide. Like, it's so wide.
That's one tree?
That's one tree, and that's the front of it. So I wanted to take multiple photos and put together some ideas of how to represent that tree. There's other. I also wanted to do the fish market. So I wanted to take all the photos I took of the fish market and like put together this advert or store. I don't even know what it says. And then put together like this, with another one, to create a more illustrative scene. I think those are the only ones I earmarked for now. But I mean, this whole idea is something that I've always wanted to work with. Like, it's not an easy thing to put together a composition from multiple. It's much more illustrative, but I think that's something we could all learn from. And basically, it's like when you don't have that perfect photo that captures the whole experience, how do you amalgamate it? So that's what I had sort of on the table for next week. And then using all the things we've talked about, like the various types of lines, the color, and then the medium, that's been working for us really well. How does that sound?
I'm not sure if I have photos or how to pick my own photos.
Well, think of a memory where you're like, if you like, I don't want you to spend a lot of time going through your photos necessarily, but okay, we hear you.
Is it lunchtime? Is that why he's
He's also not able to really play, so he's just whining.
Bored.
Yes, like I can't take him outside because he can't really walk and it's muddy out. So why take him outside, get him all muddy for nothing? Like,
is there a kid that would come in the room and just be with them, clean them? Have they gotten to that stage yet?
Is there
A kitty
Oh,
that would come.
yesterday, him and Sushi touched noses.
Ooh,
That's about as close as we've gotten.
that is. So I had a giant schnauzer mix, and when he was a puppy, I'd already had a cat like you. And he ended up being very tall, but I knew it was good when the dog he would go in his cage, just like Toshi's doing right now, because he would lay in there. When the cat walked into the cage and they laid together. So it'll happen.
But Sushi's really old, so it needs to be like hopefully more than just him. Because he's going to be all whiny and mourning when Sushi passes, and he won't have that with the other cats unless it's I'm nurturing it as much as possible. Because
does your cats cuddle?
My two, no. The
Okay.
other Kelsey's two, yes, because they're mom and son.
Okay.
So it could happen with them, but right now Lainey hisses at everyone and everything. She's adapting though. She gave me some love this morning. We hear you. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think it's lunchtime. I'm hearing him. But so if you're not sure about photos, then just continue to work with the ones that you picked from like that batch now, because that's fine as well. Like thinking of it now with all the weeks,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of container are you going to put it in?
Okay.
The container is like the mixed media, the simplification, the breaking down what is essential, and the feeling. And that's something I think as a group we can really help with. One photo is if it's 5 photos. I just want to be supportive with the complicated stuff that you're not sure how to do on your own.
Okay.
And challenge the hell out of me, please. Come on, bring it.
Great.
Okay. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be in touch with the recording, and we'll see you guys soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.